Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome to Uncovered. I've got an amazing man who looks after people in the gyms. So I really am super excited to have you on Uncovered, Dan. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Jason. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, no worries. So let's have a little bit of a background chat about what you do, how you do it, and what matters to you, Dan.
Absolutely. So I'm in the fitness industry. I have been so for almost 20 years. So I call myself an industry dinosaur. Started as a personal trainer out of the boot of my car, whilst I had a corporate job, and that just evolved into owning gyms, owning an education company. And what I primarily do now is I have a coaching company. So I help fitness business owners, primarily bricks and mortar owners, really have a successful business so they can have more freedom from their business, more profit, but also really maximize their impact. And where I really love helping fitness business owners is help them become operators instead of having a job, essentially. And just learning all the key skills that you need to have to create leverage in terms of management, leadership, systems in particular.
Yeah, I love that. And it's really interesting coming from a guy in the boot of his car to, doing a transition and moving into phases of your business, isn't it? So quite often we always do this, and I've done the same. What was it like making those transitions, moving from the guy in corporate with his, his stuff in the boot of his car to move into owning gyms? How's it been with your journey around that?
Yeah, well, I've been really fortunate. I've had lots of really amazing opportunities. So I've primarily had about 4 major businesses within the fitness industry, and each one has challenged me. It's made me evolve. It's made me grow. I've learned a lot of lessons through making a lot of mistakes as well. And each one I've had to almost battle a little bit of an identity crisis as I've made those transitions. So initially it was, obviously trading time for money out the boot of my car. Then I opened a little facility, and that facility taught me a lot because I thought I knew a little about business. I actually knew very little. So I had to evolve from being a technician to actually being a business owner. I learned a lot about marketing, sales, but in particular, I learned about people and really how to communicate with people and how to manage people. I was close to burnout during my first 18 months of that, just because I really struggled with that transition. What I typically did was trade my time for money to service one person. And I did that to a point where I could no longer do it anymore because there just wasn't enough hours in the day. So that was a great, and that took me a while. That really did. It took me a few years to overcome, but that was a fantastic lesson. And then as I built that, I built a team. So it was then independent of me. It was a really successful business. I sold that eventually because it was independent of me. I started an education company, and that was the next evolution that I had to take, because now I had a global company. I had about 30 team members. And so I had to really step up and be a much better leader than what I was. And so again, that was another shift that I had to make if I wanted to be successful in that evolution. And, one of my things that I've always done as I've made transitions is I've just made sure that I'm super, super passionate about what I'm doing, that it's challenging me, that it's really that I'm learning and every single day. And once that stops, then I'll sell that business. So that's why I've, sold 2 businesses successfully right now and have moved into the consulting space, because this is really where I see, feel it in my heart that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I love that. And look, a lot of people don't even get one off the ground then, so it's amazing to know that you've managed to get 2 off the ground and sold them. What was it like actually letting them go? Was that hard?
It was. Yeah, it really, really was. So I've sold, I currently own 2 businesses. I've sold 2. So the first one was my first studio. I had it for 10 years. And it was my baby. Like, it really, really was. I was very close to it. I literally started it from nothing. I bootstrapped it and built it into a great business. And we had an amazing community. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to let go. I was no longer challenged. I was no longer excited about the actual work itself. I didn't like taking sessions. I found it quite arduous and monotonous at that point in time. But what I loved was the connection in the community. So that was hard to let go, but I knew it was right. And why I knew it was right was I knew that I couldn't serve it anymore. I couldn't get it to the next level because I didn't have that inner drive or that passion. And it had given me everything that I needed plus more. So I knew the timing was right to move on from that. I really did, despite it being difficult. Then the next business I sold was my education business. And again, I'd been in it even over 10 years. I'd been in it about 11 years before I sold that. And again, that was like born from a hobby. It started with one course that I wrote with my business partner at the time. And it just, triggered a wonderful set of opportunities where I got to travel all around the world, speak on some of the biggest stages, train, coach at least 5,000 fitness professionals. And again, similarly, I just was no longer waking up with just that absolute desire to work in that business. I was far more interested in business than I was technical education. And I knew that it was right at that time. I also had a business partner in that business, and I also knew at that time that it was right that we separated and went our own ways because our vision and values were no longer aligning. And so it was all very nice. We're still very, very good friends. He was my business partner for 11 years, and we own a couple of businesses together. But that was also another real contributing reason. So yeah, there's a touch of sadness with both sales, but also a lot of excitement. And I love being challenged. I really, really do. So in both cases, it kind of woke me up. It shook me up and excited me. I really like the beginning stages of starting a business. It's crazy. It's manic. There's lots going on. And I really thrive off that.
Yeah, I love that. So we get into this place and it sounds like, you tell me if I'm wrong, we get to a certain point where our growth peters out, and we actually don't feel it anymore, and we may be feeling a little bit empty. And a lot of people who are entrepreneurial do this. They're looking for that next thing that's going to fill their cup up, and need something stronger and that's going to give them the drive back again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% correct. And I'm also really mindful of it as well, because it can be a blessing and a curse, because you can end up obviously moving from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, because of that desire to create. And so one of the things that I now look at in my current business is how can I feed that desire to create, but within the business itself, as opposed to having to, jump to another business or another business.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important to think about for listeners out there. I'm going to talk to a couple of things here that I think is really, really important. So a lot of people have ideas, and they may have 5 to 10 ideas and they don't do any of them, right? Because there's too many ideas come along. And then we've got an experience here where we look at that one idea, we implement that one idea, and then we can, just go enough's enough. So there's got to be this sort of blend between, for you, Dan, having that ability to go, okay, I'm going to do that next right thing, and then that other part that has that real creative flair that wants to do 5 things at once. How do you, I guess, go into your coaching business now and make sure you use that incredible gift that you have to make sure you open it out so you can create spikes off your one business now so you don't have to sell it?
Yeah, great question. So what I look at now is how can I get creative within my current business to maximize it? So how can I get more people? How can I impact the current people that we have even better? And how can I leverage my creativity to do so? So this year, for example, one of the things that I wanted to do is I wanted to create these face-to-face events. We haven't obviously been able to run face-to-face events for a number of years. And so I wanted to create some really special face-to-face events that just transformed people. And so my creativity was really channeled into that. What kind of speakers do we need to have? What kind of locations do we need to have? What does the booklet need to look like? What do the slides need to be? What's the background music? What kind of food are we going to have? What kind of social activities are we going to have? What kind of games are we going to be playing? And so really breaking that down and being creative in that process so I could create something really significant within the program itself. And then the next is, all right, creatively, what can I create so the members derive a better result, so they have more connection, so they have more support. So then I formulated this pod idea where now we have pods of 4 and 4 colleagues, 4 business owners, and they meet with their coach. I put together trainings on how the coach delivers that, frameworks that they need to follow. And that's another way that I've been able to get creative and have some fun. And so now I'm just looking for more and more opportunities like that, so it enhances the current business. You know, the next one now is expanding into a new market. So primarily our market is Australia, and I want to expand into the US. So creatively, how can I do so? What's the marketing and the sales channel going to look like so I can be successful in that expansion?
Yeah, I love that. And so we're looking at, and the Australia and America are very, very different beasts, like as far as people are concerned, and the way in which Australians are far more laid back and more relaxed, and the Americans are go, go, go. So do you, in that creative process, do you think, okay, this country is this type of person? Do you go there? What do you do to jump into a market like America?
Yeah, so the first thing I did was actually hire an American, because they do think differently. They do operate differently. I absolutely love Americans. I've presented over there several times, and I actually believe they're the best audience in the world, because they're just, they're a little less inhibited than us Aussies. Yeah. They think really big, which I love. And they're, you know, very, very passionate and enthusiastic. So I hired an American and said, you know, what does our messaging need to be? How do we get in front of these people? He's a really successful fitness business owner, has been so for a long time. And just so I could understand the psyche and their just behaviors a lot better for our content and our messaging, that was my first step.
Yeah, I love that, because that's really smart, Dan, because I know every culture has a different phenomenon in the way that they approach. And I'm an Aussie, and I know we're more negative potentially than positive in lots of ways. You know, we can look at what's wrong, and Americans do, let's look at what's right. It's a very different type of marketing that you've got to supply. And it's so smart, Dan, to go, okay, let's go and find an American to give myself leverage and moving in. So how did you find, you know, talking to a fitness person, did it feel really good to have that support and for your stuff? Because, you know, this is where, you know, you can have that sort of clash. Oh, you know, you're coming into my industry. How did that person, because usually they're really good with this, they'll come and support as much as they can. What was it like getting that support from him or her?
Yeah, really good. I mean, a lot of the people, I've got 4 coaches now that help me in the coaching business itself. And I'm really big on connection and relationships. and he and I had a relationship over about 6 to 12 months. I was actually his coach. I helped him exit from his facility. I liked the cut of his cloth. There was trust, there was respect, there was rapport. And then he's just like, Dan, like, I love what you do. I'm really on board. Like, I'm on board with your vision. So, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And that's that's really important for me in business, is finding great people that we have a really good connection with. And it just goes many layers. So if I go, through all my coaches, all of them have worked with me in some capacity or another. And it's been over a longer period of time. And I just feel like that just makes for a really good business.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this is really important for anyone watching this right now. I remember I didn't get any support in my business for, I don't know how long, for 16 or 17 years.
Yeah, wow.
Right. So I just spent my whole time just going into what I was doing myself. And it was really slow. And I didn't see that there was such a big thing out there, because I was doing, time for money, and had no idea that there was so much available as far as support is concerned. And for people who are listening to this right now, this is a person who's successful who actually chooses to get help, right? And I think this is really, really important, that all successful people actually have people giving them help. Would you agree?
Oh, 100. It's non-negotiable. I mean, you cannot do it on your own. And I have a lot of help from a lot of people. And I always have. And I attribute that to one of the core reasons that I've been able to do what I've been able to do in my career.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's, so if you look at the help that you've been given, what's been the biggest thing? What would you say was the biggest ingredient that you got out of the coaches that you've had? Is there a number one thing that just rang in your ear around what you needed, how you needed to become and what you needed to do? Is there one special thing that happened?
Look, there's probably not one special thing, but what coaches have been really helpful for me is they've been able to pull me out from the weeds. So I get tunnel vision. I do not take a 30,000 foot view very often. And so quite often I'm doing things and they may not be the most effective, the most efficient. And I'm missing the bigger picture quite often. And so a coach is just, because they've got that external set of eyes, they can see things that I can't. And they can see all my biases. They can see all my blind spots. And for me, that level of clarity has been huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really, really important, that, taking that in, because look, Dan, being in business for such a long period of time that you have, quite often a lot of people get a really big ego and they end up having only a mouth with no ears. And I've seen this with a lot of experts. So how have you managed to keep your humility in check, to still be able to listen, to get that support while you've been such an experienced entrepreneur?
I just believe that I'm a rookie. I really do. I truly, I've got so much to learn in this game. And there are so many people that are wiser, smarter, more experienced than me. And so I'd be an absolute fool not to heed their advice and to listen to them. So I think, number one, I feel like I know about this much. I really, really do. Number two, I've got goals and ambitions that I need to hit. And right now, my current skill set and knowledge is not suffice to hit those. So I need to go and seek and develop those so I can be successful in accomplishing that.
Yeah, I love that. So there's two areas around this that we can look at. There's the tactics and the focus on what you need to do with tactics to get you there. And then there's what do you do with your head, and how do you deal with your heart? So a lot of the time we can get into the tactics, we can get to a certain point and then not get any further. So what have you found in your world that's gotten you, moving from that guy in the boot of his car to moving into high success? What's been that thing? Has it been you, as you said, having to change who you are, or is it the steps to get there? Or is it a blend of both?
Yeah, I think it's both. I really do. I love a tactic. I do. So I'm naturally more drawn to a tactic. I'm a really kind of logical person. So, you tell me a tactic, you've got to plan your week exactly the way you want it. Plan your week on a Sunday, plan your day the night before. You've got a time chunk. I'm all for that. And, I'm a really big one on discipline. So I love a tactic around that's, discipline oriented. At the same time, I've also got to work on myself. And I think that's probably, been one of the main, one of the core reasons why I reached out to you, Jason, is I'm like, I feel like my knowledge is actually fairly solid, yet I'm not where I need to be or where I want to be. And so that's where I've got to work on the inner game. So how can I develop my mind and still my mind so I can get to where I need to? Because it's really like it's skills, belief, or knowledge that are the big three. I believe in a lot of cases, to get to the next level, I'm probably about 60% on the knowledge and the skills, but it's the mind that was slowing me down the most. And so it's hence why I've got different coaches that focus on different areas. I've got a marketing coach, and I've got a wealth coach, and then I need a mindset coach.
Yeah. And I think this is really important to have that. A lot of people don't choose that third one a lot of the time. And the third one can take, depending on who the identity is and what they're about, can take a little bit of time to figure out what is the turnkey, right? So we focus on, in our academy, 6 areas of life. And I was just chatting to one of the guys I've been helping with, Dan, about his personal relationship was actually the problem that was actually affecting his business. So all we've done is focus on his personal relationship, and his business numbers have gone up. It's really, really interesting. When we think about mindset, quite often people get stuck in, I got to get my mindset right for my business, but they actually don't know it's a mindset right in another area that can actually put the stall in your business, right? And so many times I've worked with this is that looking left field. So there's a lady that I'm working with at the moment who is a manager, and she's just killing it now. And we've done nothing about her business at all. Nothing to do with the management, nothing. All we've done is her personal life and a particular area of her personal life. And I've heard she's absolutely killing it in management now. Right?
Yeah. I was speaking to actually my marketing sales coach yesterday in regards to exactly this. And so we just did a little bit of an inventory, and we went, all right, here's the 6 key areas of life. Rate yourself out of 5 in them, and let's see where we're lagging, because let's address those, because if one's lagging, other parts are going to be a reflection of that. And I agree. I think if, it's very hard to compartmentalize. So if a relationship's not doing well or your health's not doing well, then that's going to translate into your business. It's going to translate into those other areas.
100%. And look, what we've got to learn to figure out to do in business is, what is it? And a lot of the time we don't know. And this is where, someone like me can come in and sort of figure stuff out. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. And it's looking and seeing what's under the covers, because look, at the end of the day, what I found in you, Dan, is that you have a very different business model too, right? To a tactician. So you're naturally tactical. Your whole ethics is built on connection. So can we talk to what that means to you when you're connecting with your clients, when you're connecting with your business? What is it about connection that has so much meaning to you?
It's really interesting. I didn't know that I did this really that consciously, but I obviously it's rather a real subconscious desire. Is I love community, and I love people connecting, and I love like-minded people connecting. So every business I've been able to build, I'm really good at getting people together, and I'm really good at getting like-minded people that share similar values together. And when it comes to, say, this specific coaching business right now, I believe business ownership can be a real lonely journey at times. You can really be an island to yourself, and it's not easy. And all the stats will support that. It's real. Like, we choose a very difficult path.
Yes.
And so I know it's going to be easier if you've got a community of like-minded people supporting you and lifting you up, and understanding, empathizing, because they actually are going through the same journey with you. And so I care so much about my clients. And I know that if I can foster that community and connection, they're going to enjoy this journey a lot more. They're going to have a lot more fun. And they're also going to be a lot more successful. And as a result of that, they're going to be a lot more successful. So that's why it's really, really important to me. And that's why, we go to great expense and to great effort to facilitate that within our business.
Yeah, I love that. And so the type of people that you connect with, Dan, we spoke about this a little while ago around the type of people is really caring, really kind, really supportive, really nurturing type of people. And then in the fitness industry, there is a whole lot of rah-rah, let's show you six-pack, let's put the muscle on. I never seen pictures of you carrying on like that. What is it? How do you go into the industry where there's a lot of show and go, and then there's you, not necessarily, you're here just to provide that care, provide that support, and do all that sort of non-rah-rah approach. How are you different to the normal people who are sharing their magic in this world? Because I see everyone going like this, their stuff, and look at my little muscles here. They're showing that, and you are a massive point of difference in the industry as well, in my opinion.
Thank you. Yeah, look, I mean, there's obviously a lot of ego, there's a lot of arrogance, there's a lot of bravado within our industry. That's absolutely part and parcel of that. I don't attract that, because that's obviously not the message that I put out to the world. So I think it's, this is hardly enlightening, but I just be me. Right. And so at the absolute heart of who I am, I really care about people. I love to connect with people. I am a little softer. And those that resonate with that will be absolutely drawn to me. Those that don't, they'll be repelled by me. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I'm all right with that. I don't have the 100,000 fans on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, nor do I need it, because I have less relationships, they're deeper relationships, and they're with the right people. So I know if I put me out in the world, the right people will be drawn to it, and the wrong people will be repelled by it. And that's all good.
I love this, because a lot of people want to be everything for everyone. And when we're in an industry where you are very different, in the way that you're approached, because it's a model that's really different. And this is for listeners who are really wanting to understand how Dan works in the fitness industry. You might be one of those people who's like Dan. And quite often, if you're looking at Dan and then you're looking at another person who's going, hey, look at me, they're standing up and yelling and screaming to buy them. And a lot of people can be impulsive buyers on that side, saying, oh, I think I'll need that guy. At the end of the day, are you that person who really is that guy? And if you're not that guy, then Dan is your guy. Dan's the one who you can learn from and grow through and get the support from, because I think we need to, as you said, if we're not being ourselves, then there's a problem, right? And then we've got to learn to be able to sell that, sell ourselves. And if you can do that, listeners, you're going a whole much further and a much better way to live your life. And a lot of people are not being themselves, Dan.
Yeah, I see it happen all the time. They feel they need to be something else to get to where they want to. And they see, they may see a big personality being really successful. And so they feel like they need to mirror that. But it comes across inauthentic. It really does. You're not going to attract people, because people will see it for what it is, a facade. And one of the things in the coaching space is people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches. So showcase or I showcase my wins, my losses, my lessons, my mistakes, my vulnerabilities, and the right people are attracted to that.
Yeah. And I think this is super, super important. Be yourself and you'll get the success that you want to create. Dan, is there anything that you can give the guys here a little bit of inspiration around, taking steps like you've done? Like, what's your piece of magic that you can offer to say, jump in, don't wait, because you're a jumper. So what is that all about? How do you do that?
Look, I think stoicism really defines this really well. Is a lot of the time we sit on the edge and we won't jump in because we think of the worst case scenario. But if you actually break down that worst case scenario, how bad is it? So for me, for example, jumping in and starting a consulting business. All right, I jump in, worst case scenario, it doesn't work. Worst case scenario, I've got to go back and, be a trainer in a gym. Do I still have my health? Yeah. Do I still have my home? Yeah. Do I still have my family? Yeah. Like, do I have the things that really are important? Yes. Do I have clothes on my back? Yes. So it's actually not that bad. And that's the very worst case scenario. So, stop catastrophizing, stop procrastinating, put the foot in, because worst case scenario is not all that bad. So that's probably the first thing that I look at. Second thing is, success is simple. It's not easy. So it really is. It's a collection of particular habits that will enable you to be successful. So if you're not where you are right now, it's just because you're not practicing those habits. So identify those and start habitualizing them. Start making them happen on a consistent basis. Because really all success is it's just the right habits consistently practiced. That's what it is. And so it's just about, having the knowledge, or maybe just having the insight to identify what they are and then develop them accordingly.
Yeah, I love that. And I think this is really important, listeners, to jump in and, change your habits, follow through, and take a step, as opposed to, what could go wrong. So I see a lot of people taking, I'll wait till next year, or I'll wait. And, December is one of those classic times, isn't it? Like, I've had 3 or 4 people actually join our academy this month, where everyone goes, oh, December is not a time to join because it's too busy. But I know these people who have joined in December, I know they're not waiting to January.
100%, or 100%. I mean, I think one of the worst things you can do is wait in life. And really, by not making a decision, you are making a decision, and you're going to put yourself and your opportunities and your desires and ambitions on hold. That's what you're doing. And yeah, for me, that's absolutely, again, it's catastrophic. So yeah, you just dive in
and give it a shot. I love that. So listeners, if you really like this podcast, Daniel, we're going to put all Daniel's details in the show notes and his website and how to find him. If you really like this and you really like Dan and you want to share his message about, what's important around the fitness industry, how to create where you want to create, how to build something when you're actually not the chest beater, you're the person who is highly creative, you just want to share your stuff and you've got the magic. Please like and share this podcast. This is how we can get Daniel's message and the Uncovered podcast moving. If you want to work with Dan, we'll get you all the details. For us, if you really liked this one today, like and share it. If you want to find out what I do, I've been helping Dan a little bit. Come and jump in and we can have a little bit of a chat. We have a no dickhead policy. We're a little bit like Dan. We don't want rah-rah. We want really good people. Both Dan and I are in alignment with the way that we approach. So come and check us out and see what we do. Thank you very much, Dan, for jumping on Uncovered. I really appreciate your time today.
Mate, really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone listening. And if anything I did say resonated, please connect and reach out. I would absolutely love that.
Yeah, Dan is a phenomenal person and he's also phenomenal at what he does. So jump in and get his help.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to our podcast. We'd love it if you could like and share it with your friends. Our website address is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademy.com. We also have all of the videos on YouTube under Wellness Breakthrough Academy as well. We also do small courses, live events. I have an amazing book called From Broken to Breakthrough. We'd love the opportunity to give you a hand to help you live your purpose, to find out what you're here for, to give you the direction. Our courses are amazing and we do everything really, really differently for what's happening in the world at the moment. So come and find out how we can help you break your limitations so you can live the life of your dreams. We'll chat soon.